Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome back to the series of how to use programming in automation. So as part of this series today, I'm going to show you how to use for each loop in automation. So for each loop is a built-in method in JavaScript. So it is a built-in method in JavaScript and it can be directly used on arrays. It can be directly used on arrays. So for each loop is lets us loop through each element in the array. It lets us loop through each element in the array. Okay okay so the syntax is array dot for each, f small and each e is capital for each. And here we pass two things. One is element and index. It is very important, element and index. Then after that put is equal to and greater than symbol. This is called arrow function. So here goes the code. So here element is the current element in the array. So here element is the current element in the array. okay and index is the index of the current element, like 0 1 2 3. Okay and important thing to note down here is for each loop is best only when we are reading and comparing static values. When we are reading and comparing static values, if we want to perform any actions, I mean asynchronous actions inside this for loop, it it usually fails. So if you are having that use case, like if you want to click or enter any values, then we should go for of loop. So just remember, it is best when we are reading and comparing the static values. So now to show you this, I will use this tutorial's point, web table. So here we are having these columns. So what I'll show you is I'll keep these columns in some variable. So I will say expected columns, and at the runtime I'll fetch these columns and store it in some variable, and I will do the comparison. So I will say expected columns, not columns, sorry, expected headers is equal to actual headers. Okay let's get started. So I've created the spec file. So now what I'll do is I'll keep this headers in some variable. All these headers in some variables. So const, I'll say expected headers is equal to, it should be array. So because we can work for each loop only on arrays, so within single quote type the column names, sorry, header names: first name, last name, age, first name within single quote, put comma, last name, then age, then email, salary, department, action. Email, salary, department, then action. Okay, within single quote. So we have created array of expected columns. So now what we need to do, we need to take all this, we need to keep all these headers in some variable that will be actual headers. So let us inspect. So th, so we'll say there is only one table, so I will say table, then t body, then th, table header. Table t body, we'll see once again. T head, not th. T head. Table header. Table T head. Okay. Okay. So here it has the headers, table and T head. Okay. Okay. And we'll say th. Yeah, this one. Okay, we will take this T head and th. Copy. We'll create another variable and we will say header elements. Header elements is equal to await page dot locator. This is the locator dot all. Okay, because there are more than one header, correct? Yeah. So dot all. So now what we need to do, to this arrays we need to apply for each loop. So to do, what is the syntax? Array dot for each. So what is the array here? Header elements dot for each. Okay, so it takes two things. One is elements and index. So for element I will say header element, the first one, then second one index. For index I will call index only. Okay, then arrow function. Okay, so this is the syntax. So here header element is the it is the first header element, like first time it takes the first header element, so it will take the first one and the index is 0. Again second time the header element holds second one, that is last name, and so on. Okay, and index starts from 0, like 0 1 2 3. Okay. Okay, so now what we need to do, we need to get the text of it, correct? We need to fetch the text of this header. So to do that, header el dot text content. So this is the method to get the, to fetch the text of the element, correct? Text content dot, then we have to use dot, then this is very important. Okay, so why? Because inside this for each loop we cannot use await. Okay, just remember, inside for each we cannot use await, and this header dot text content, it returns promise, and to handle the promise here we are using dot then method. Okay, so it is like it waits. Okay. Okay, then here, so we know that header dot text content returns something, the text content, and we need to keep that in some variable. So that variable we call text. Okay. Okay, so what is this text? Text is a variable, and what it holds? It holds the text content of this first header. Okay. Okay, so now now we'll get the actual text content. So const, we'll create a variable called actual is equal to text dot trim. Okay, so we'll apply trim method it, okay, to remove the extra spaces. Okay. Okay, so now let us print console statement. Okay, console.log, and we will say expected header. What is the variable? Expected header, this one. Expected header of index, this is expected header what we're expecting, comma found. So what we found, found is in actual variable, correct? Actual. Okay. Okay, so now we will put the if condition to compare. Okay. Okay, so to put if actual is equal to expected, is equal to expected. Oh, put 4 equals. If actual is equal to expected, header put index. And if it is equal to the expected headers, then we want to put a console statement saying headers is matching. Okay, so if it is not matching, else, if it is not matching, we want to throw the error. Okay, so how to throw new error. So we'll say header mismatched at index. Here we'll print the index name, so where, at which header it did not match. Okay, okay, so I'll put backticks. Okay, I will save. Now let us execute. Okay, so here instead of just comparing, you want to delete or want to perform any other action, we cannot do inside for each loop. We have to go for of loop. Okay, that I've showed you in my previous video. Okay, so header is matching. So here I'll put this expected headers in dollars. Okay, so now it will give us the header, index of header. Okay, okay, so now here, suppose if I'll put any other column in between, I'll put place. Okay, okay, so now it is not matching. Okay, so now let us execute. And I hope you know the basics of Playwright. Okay, so if not, I've already made a Playwright tutorial, okay, for beginners. So we can see that it throw the error saying header mismatched at index 1. Okay, so first index is 0, 0 is first name, and here second column we are expecting to be place, so here we have second last name. Okay, so it is failed. Okay, so if I'll remove this place, now let me run. Control C. Okay, so you can see that department expected is department and found department, and I'll come from the beginning. Okay, so expected header is first name and found first name. Okay, okay. So if you think you learned something from this video, please do like and subscribe to my channel. Okay, okay. Thank you so much for watching.